Hello, BookTube. Well, it's a bleak and barren Sunday when there is no mail, no books for Steve. But it's a lot less bleak and a lot less barren because this week was so productive in terms of the sheer number of books that I got in the mail that I was able, through a Herculean act of will, to set aside a small stack for today so that I could open books on camera with you even when there are none delivered in the mail. And the first thing I wanted to open, I know what it is. It's not a book. It's a lot of fun. It's the Christian Science Monitor, the physical issue. I have the best editor in the world. The tag says world domination. So which one will this be? Okay, this is my review of The Terror Years by Lawrence Wright, the author of The Looming Tower, a great book on 9/11. So there you go. That's a great way to start the show. But let's move on now to books and see what we have on this Sunday. Oh, wow. Fantastic. Okay, this is for early December. Oh, I can't wait. This is called Other Minds, The Octopus, the Sea, and the Deep Origins of Consciousness. This is by Peter Godfrey Smith, and it's going to be about cephalopod cognition, which is one of my favorite subjects. They're alien beings right here on Earth. Oh my, very nice. Okay, that's an excellent start. Let's move on. What's this next one? Oh, fantastic. Okay, this is the finished copy of Loner by Teddy Wayne, a novel that I very, very much liked. I forget when this comes out. This is this is coming right up. Okay, this is mid-September that this comes out. This is a great author in our midst who's not known, while the literary world spends all of its time and attention lauding people who sometimes don't deserve it. Well, isn't that the way of it? It's not just Teddy Wayne. Of course, there are a handful of writers who are just like that, that are doing absolutely first-rate work without the ballyhoo. I'm glad to have found this. And then let's see what we have next here. Okay, we saw this. This is late September. We saw this earlier on the channel. This is My Dear Lee, the correspondence of Werner Heisenberg and his who was she? His sister? I confess I haven't read the his wife. Okay, I haven't read the galley yet that I got. Hang on just a second here. A little house cleaning. But now I have the finished copy, so that's good. A little bit of a drab looking thing, but what are you going to do? Alright, so let's move on. The next one is Europa Editions, in one of these packages that I don't like. I had one of you viewers assured me that the flaking stuff that flies out of here is not asbestos. I don't know how you'd know that. Don't know who you'd test it. I'm certainly not going to eat any of it. It looks like asbestos, but I'll take your word for it. This is Shelter in Place by Alexander Maxick. It is, if I remember correctly, a thriller set in the Pacific Northwest. Yes, set in the Pacific Northwest, the jittery, jacked-up early 1990s. This is by one of America's most thrilling and defiant contemporary authors. It's a stylish literary novel about the hereditary nature of mental illness, the fleeting intensity of youth, the obligations of family, and the dramatic consequences of love. And it comes out... I don't know. I have a bunch of blurbs. I have a douchebag photo of the author, looking like he really pities me that I'm not as intelligent as he is. That's big of him. Oh, there we go. Mid-September. Okay. So this comes out in mid-September, and it looks like this guy's going to be doing press all over the Pacific Northwest. But I've been on a very specific kind of reading binge lately. So reading and also YouTube watching binge lately. So when I hear Pacific Northwest, I automatically think Sasquatch. I'm assuming there'll be no Sasquatches in shelter in place. All right, what's next here? Oh, look at this. Okay, this is called Just Around Midnight: Rock and Roll in the Age of Racial Imagination by Jack Hamilton. And that is, if I'm correct, that is Mick Jagger and Chuck Berry on the cover. And this comes out in late September. As some of you may know, has come up on this channel many times, I am the managing editor of a literary website called Open Letters Monthly. I'll leave the link down below. We have many freelancers on many subjects, but one that I've never been able to find on a regular basis is somebody to write about rock and roll. There's so much good writing about it, and I'm not the person to do it. But maybe this will be the one. I'll certainly keep trying. Okay, here's a novel. The Afterlife of Stars by Joseph Curtis. Don't know that name at all. This comes out in January. When Joseph Curtis was not yet 5, he and his family narrowly escaped the invading Russians at the onset of the Hungarian Revolution. It was 1956, and his grandmother came to take him out of preschool only minutes after the day had begun. On their way out of town, they passed lampposts where Hungarian soldiers had killed by the Russians now hung. That night, after a long train ride, they made their way to the foot of the Austrian border, and as they crossed a large, dark field, bomb after bomb exploded around them. It was only later that Curtis' grandmother finally told him they'd been walking across a minefield. It is this incredible true story that inspired Curtis' new novel, The Afterlife of Stars, a poignant and deeply funny story that Tim O'Brien has said moved me more than any other novel I've read in recent memory. Okay. All right, so this comes out in January. That is a little reviewing pet peeve of Steve's that you saw right there. This is a novel based on the author's autobiographical experiences of running across a landmine as a youth with his beloved grandmother, which is as close as you can get to writing in neon across this book. You cannot criticize me. It drives me nuts. I think it's fascinating, absolutely fascinating to learn that you had this traumatic experience and that you were part of living history like this. But you wrote a novel about it. If you wrote a memoir about it, I would avoid reviewing the book, but I would be referential in thinking about it. At least I would say, well, okay, that's a heck of an experience, worse nightmare than I ever went through. Glad you made it through. But if you write a novel, you're abandoning all that. You don't get that. You don't get any of that consideration. You shouldn't, anyway. And way too many 21st century authors think they should. Way too many of them. I was a boy soldier in the Serengeti. Here's my novel. I was a sex slave in Singapore. Here's my novel about it. Well, okay. Horrifying life experience. But did you write a good novel or didn't you? Because, once you make it a novel, you're playing on that field. Did you do a good job or didn't you? And if at some point you didn't, or if, as is more likely, and certainly has been my experience, at no point did you do a good job, if the whole thing is a mess, I don't want to hear from you what I am absolutely certain your Iowa Writing Workshop compatriots and teachers heard from you that silenced them completely. I don't want to hear from you, but it really happened that way. Because who the hell cares if it really happened that way? I would care very much if it happened that way if you're writing a memoir. But if you're writing a novel, I don't care. I care whether or not it's a good novel. So, a little rant there. I don't like top-heavy leading like that. But I guess you've got to sell it somehow. So, and then here we go. Here's the last thing. It's big. Big white envelope. What is this? Oh, fantastic. All right, so we started and end on a very strong note. This is the finished copy of Robert Gottlieb's memoir, Avid Reader, which I will be reviewing for the Christian Science Monitor. So this is great. I now have a finished copy of this. It comes out in mid-September. I have already read it. It's just wonderful. Just wonderful. But I will go through it now that it has an index. I will go through it use that as a flimsy excuse to read it a second time. It was very, very enjoyable. And there you go. That is a mail haul for a Bleak and Barren Sunday that made things significantly cheerier. And I'll see you soon, BookTube. Thank you.